Welcome to Just Ecology. So today we're going to talk about bryophytes, and this is the mosses, the hornworts, the lichens. And these are actually plants. They're different to the trees, the shrubs, the plants that most people are familiar with, in that we call them non-vascular plants. So trees have a vascular system. They collect water, say from the soil, through roots, which then go into a vascular system that transports this throughout the plant. The difference is with the mosses and the other bryophytes is that they don't have a vascular system. Instead, they have this amazing ability to absorb water straight through the leaf surface. So if water lands on the plant, on the moss, it can just absorb that moisture. When it's dry, they can shrivel up into almost a kind of dormant state, and you'll see this in a lot of the Australian bush in say summer, where the mosses can look quite crispy. But it only takes, say, one rain event, and because that water can be absorbed straight through the leaves, they'll then completely rehydrate. And a lot of mosses and other bryophytes can go, many months, even years without moisture by drying up and desiccating. But then when they get the right moisture, then they can take that back through the leaves and rehydrate. Now, this basic difference in the biology between vascular and non-vascular plants has meant that because the mosses don't have true roots, they do have these structures called rhizoids that help them kind of anchor in a bit to the soil. But because they don't need to have like an extensive root system, they can grow on they can grow on bare rock, where most vascular plants, they can't grow on rock itself, but mosses and other bryophytes can grow on the rock. And they can grow on pretty extreme environments where a lot of the vascular plants can't grow. Now, in areas where there's been a lot of soil disturbance, in this part of central Victoria where I am, where there's been massive disturbance to the soil layer through mining activity, mosses have played a really major role in terms of holding the soil back together and helping to heal that soil layer. Because when there's been a lot of mixing of the soil, there's a lot of steep slopes have been created. A lot of the native plants find it hard to grow in that harsh environment, whereas the mosses will actually, and the other bryophytes, they can actually grow on these, particularly on say creek banks and things, and help to really hold that soil layer together and kind of help the soil kind of stabilize over time. And then you'll have the vascular plants, the grasses, the trees, the shrubs will start to recolonize. Now, the bryophytes don't have seeds like the vascular plants. Instead, they have spores. And this also means that they can disperse quite large distances. So that spore is almost microscopic, and it can blow in the wind. So you can have bryophytes spreading and colonizing areas quite a large distance. So on this path cutting here, you can see a great example of how mosses, bryophytes, lichens, how they'll hold the soil together. So it's too steep, too rocky on this escarpment here for vascular plants to grow. But the mosses are forming this beautiful carpet, and that's really going to help hold the soil together. Particularly when you get kind of heavier rains, a lot of water rushing off this ledge during rain events. So there's a whole group of species growing in a mat across this cutting. So if you look down at the base of this tree, there's a pattern you'll see a lot out in the bush where you'll get a really high moss cover around the base of the tree, because a lot of these mosses and lichens, they really require a lot of moisture, and so we get runoff down the tree, get this lovely kind of wet patch around the base of the tree, and you'll get really dense carpet of mosses. So in this eucalypt forest here, there's really high concentration and diversity of mosses around some of the bases of these trees. And this is then important for protecting some of the surface roots of the tree. So you get this kind of whole complex when you go right down into the soil. This moss, which is capturing moisture, is then protecting the soil. You're going to have lots of fungi in the soil under the mosses, and that's all intertwined with the roots of different plants, particularly the tree. You can see there's a whole community here of different moss species, at least 3 or 4 different mosses and lichens just at the base of this tree. Another amazing role that the bryophytes play is when they, if you look closely in the bush and you look at the soil layer, you often see these really dense carpets of these mosses and other bryophytes, the liverworts and hornworts. And what they're actually doing is, at the micro level, they're kind of holding the soil together and also providing a bit of a bed for the seeds of a lot of native plants, the vascular plants, to germinate in. So if you imagine you've just got very bare soil, when there's going to be rain events, it's just going to wash a lot of the seeds away. Whereas when you've got all these little crevices amongst the moss, you're going to have a really beautiful bed for the vascular plants to grow within. It's also really important for a lot of invertebrates. You have thousands of species, little tiny species growing, occurring in the bush once you get down the leaf litter. And the bryophytes provide a lot of that structure and habitat for a lot of invertebrates.